What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with episode number 36 of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode series. This is the Belgian Grand Prix, as you can see on screen. Some highlights from the last episode. Go check it out if you haven't already. The Hungarian Grand Prix, a track which is almost impossible to overtake, yet we were able to carve our way through the upper midfield, and boy was it satisfying. But anyway, here we are for a brand new episode. Today we're going to deal with the mid-season break. An interview with, I was going to say Paul Gilles for a second there, but no, Will Buxton. Imagine if Paul Gilles was a voice actor in the game. That'd be cool. Anyway, here we are for today's episode. George Russell is 90 rated now with the most recent update to the facilities that we did. So big ups to my teammate, who will probably be asking for a pay rise in the next round of contract negotiations. I very much look forward to that. But for the meantime, we've got him on board for the rest of the season. We can milk him for as many points as we can muster. 1,500 resource points to spend in today's episode. We're going to go for a rushed weight redistribution upgrade, which will go on the car, or hopefully, in time for the Italian Grand Prix. But before that, it's time for the interview.
Well, it's great to be back at your headquarters, and I've got to say, an awful lot's changed since we were last here. Let's dive in with some questions. Your car's been able to challenge the very top teams. Is it safe to say you've surprised everyone?
I think so. To be honest, I feel like I've even surprised myself. I didn't expect to be this far up the order at this point in Season 2. I thought it would have taken until the end of the season for us to start gathering wins.
Now let's talk about that new sponsor. How did that relationship come about?
What do you mean? I navigated through some menus and I picked them out. But no, there are a lot of sponsors looking to jump on the car, so I can't blame them.
Your team's had their first win in Formula 1. Is this a sign of things to come?
You're a bit late to the party, Will, but hopefully we're continuing to develop. Performance has taken a bit of a sidestep, but we'll get back there.
Your second driver looks to have been really busy recently. It's always good to see that level of dedication, isn't it?
It is, yeah. He's a young driver, very talented, full of enthusiasm, and he's doing absolutely everything he can training-wise to stay on top.
George Russell is a promising young driver. Will you be giving him the chance to shine in your team?
Of course. We're giving him every opportunity. We're training him up. We need to be giving him better strategies, but apart from that, he's doing everything I ask of him.
Well, thanks so much, as ever, for your time. It's hugely appreciated.
Is that it? Well, for the first time ever, we have not told Will Buxton to get out of the factory. I don't think I'm feeling okay. Anyway, back to the task at hand, and we are once again diverting resource points, etc. Activities, that's what I'm after. G-Force training. We have 2 days before the next Grand Prix. We've navigated through the season break. Nothing really happens in the season break. The factory shuts down. It would be cool if you could still accrue resource points and money, but that's not the point of a season break, is it, Ben? Jesus, how am I an F1 YouTuber? Anyway, heading into this race, it looks like Mercedes have brought a major upgrade into the Belgian Grand Prix. What that is, I don't exactly know, but I did have a little look around the department, and it looks like Mercedes are the best chassis in the field. So we were closing in on that, but it looks like Mercedes have stretched out that a little bit further. So I'd hazard a guess to say it's something along those lines. Resource point wise, we're looking pretty good. Heading into qualifying now for the Belgian Grand Prix. Hopefully we can get 2 cars in the front 2 rows. And so here we are for qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix. This is a track where I've had a lot of fun. The boys are currently racing around, trying to get some tyres on, ready for the start of this session. We head out with about 7 minutes to go, wait for the track to rubber in a little bit more, and hopefully it'll mean we can only do the 1 run. But unfortunately, if you look at the fuel mix, I put 5 kilos of fuel in, enough for 3 laps, an out lap, flying lap, and cool down lap. But I had to go into lean revs just to get this thing to the end of the lap, and it meant that the lap wasn't really competitive at all. P17 we go out again at the end of the session. Thankfully, I left enough time to go back out there in case the lap was a bit poo, and it was. And I put in an extra kilo of fuel, and we can actually fully push on this lap. So that is quite annoying. Heading into this race, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but we had the major ERS upgrade go on the car for this race. So that should mean in the Grand Prix tomorrow, we can push a whole lot more relative to those around us. But heading to the end of the lap now, we're up by 8 tenths as we approach the final chicane. Out of the final corner, lose a bit of time. We lost a lot of time actually up to the line. Not quite the improvement I would have liked to have seen, and it's 17th place. It's 10th place. Okay. What actually is it? It's 10th place. Thank goodness. Thankfully, that was a glitch and not actually 17th place. I've never seen that happen before. Maybe a new glitch on the game. I have recently downloaded an update. Don't know what was in the patch, but looks like that glitch is now in it, essentially. But here we are for Q2. George Russell topping the timesheets. I'm going to go at the end of the session and once again make the most of a better track. We only have one set of tyres now because of using 2 sets in Q1. We go out for Q2 and it's raining. Why is it raining? If you rewind, you will have noticed that the forecast was for, I think it was cloudy. There's nothing to do with rain. We've gone out here and it's raining, and now we're probably not going to improve. You can see we're 1.8 seconds down on provisional pole, and I knew right from the second sector split that it was all over. So at the end of the day, it's going to be P16 for this Belgian Grand Prix. I am not going to restart the session. I'm going to roll with the punches. One thing I always complain about in F1 games is it being too easy, and it could be so easy for me to just restart the session and pretend that never happened. But we have had a lot of things go our way, and sometimes mistakes happen, and this is one of them. So in order to keep a realistic career mode, I'm actually going to go through with that. But what I'm going to do is take a new engine because we're pretty much starting last anyway. So new engine, last place on the grid. It's not the ideal start to the weekend, but let's hope to recover.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula One World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Day. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away. Indeed, they'll be starting in position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Vettel, Sergio Perez, and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Albon, Ocon, and Lance Stroll, Kvyat, Bottas. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Kevin Magnussen and Sainz, Gasly, Norris, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Nick de Vries, Matsushita, Latifi, Schumacher, and Day. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
It is disappointing being this low on the grid after your podium last race, but let's make the most of it. Good luck.
Jeff? Are you okay? What happened to Jeff? He sounds way different now. Anyway, Belgian Grand Prix. Bottas championship leader starting in P12. A lot of the front-running teams are running medium compound tyres. We're starting from the back. We're going to run mediums as well and follow suit with those guys. Hopefully on this tyre it means that we won't lose any time stuck behind slower cars, and then we can unleash the soft at the back end of the race to claim fastest lap. Lights out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix, and it looks like a pretty Tiametmarduk start, it has to be said. Anyway, turn 1. Let's, well, we've just kept a tyre's width, well, a tyre tread on the racetrack there. That is why that is not an illegal overtake. But we get the move done. We're into P18. And lap 1 of the Belgian Grand Prix is always my favourite lap 1 of any circuit we go to, because you can slipstream the hell out of everyone heading into Les Combes for the first time. unfortunately for us, not close enough to the AlphaTauris to do anything about it. So it's still P18. That is, oh, that's so sad. I remember on like the old F1 games, in career mode, you'd be flying past like people left, right, and center, like you're on the freeway and you're 2 hours late for a wedding or something. That's what it was like on lap 1 around this place. Gone are those days, unfortunately. But on the run into Blanchimont, wow, we fly past the AlphaTauri, but had to hold back a little bit into the final chicane. We almost drilled the back of Giovinazzi there, and now we had to let him go. Nick de Vries is trying to make the most out of that. He does get the position, and he is through. Oh, I can't tell who. Did we nearly hit Giovinazzi or did we nearly hit Kevin Magnussen? I'm confused. We've now got one of the AlphaTauris diving up the inside, hitting Nick de Vries, 3 wide at turn 1. There goes, and that was an AlphaTauri front end plate that hit me, not Nick de Vries' Haas end plate that hit me. Check the screenshot on Twitter to find out, to see confirmation of that. But there we go. We are through. We now get Nick de Vries, P15. It's been a very fiery opening couple of laps here of this Belgian Grand Prix. But, you know, we need to be aggressive right from the outset. We need to catch up to the next group of cars, get in their slipstream, DRS, etc. We have now run out of ERS allotment for this lap. You only get a certain amount that you can utilize over the course of 1 lap. We've exceeded that capacity, but we're nowhere near going past the overall capacity of the battery that is in there. Funnily enough, the ERS upgrade, which we brought heading into this race, means that we can spam the overtake button a whole lot more, to the point where we're maximizing our ERS allotment over the course of the lap. By signs, he gave up slipstream. He defended, and that actually screwed him over. But anyway, we can run overtake so much, and it doesn't really bite into our bank of battery store, if that makes sense. So we can run overtake for longer, essentially, and I'd imagine that's going to help us dramatically, not only in this Grand Prix, but in the next one, the Italian Grand Prix as well. So that is awfully handy to have. Our first track limits warning of the Grand Prix, which is unfortunate. We'll need to be a good boy. We only get 2 more, or 1 more warning before penalty on the 3rd. But regardless, we have some people diving it in early on in this Belgian Grand Prix. A lot of people in this race are running the soft compound tyre. A lot of the back markers, if not all of the back markers, running the fast tyre. So the fact that we're actually making progress, cutting through the traffic while they're on the better tyre, is only going to bode well for us later on in the Grand Prix. I'll be interested to see if some people run hards to finish off this race. Hopefully they do. That can be a strategy advantage for us. Here comes my teammate into the lane. He was only 6 or 7 seconds up the road. So in real terms, we're not that far behind the race leaders when you consider that we need to run the better tyre later on as well. As you can see, Lando Norris getting up the inside of Valtteri Bottas, who did start in P12, but is getting overtaken by a soft compound runner. Maybe Bottas has damage because he's, I don't know, he started in the mid-pack, he's on the slower tyre, maybe he was vulnerable to some people, and now you can see he's getting attacked all over by Lando Norris. Norris not getting the best run into the middle sector, and now we're going to slide up the inside into Pouhon, and we do get the job done. That was very close, actually. I understeered pretty wide, and unfortunately forced Lando to go even wider and lose a position to Danny Kvyat, I think it was. But anyway, lap 9, a lot of the soft compound tyre runners are making their stops around now. If they're going on to the hards, we're now going to fly past Bottas, championship rival. Thank you very much. You know it's going to be a good day when you beat one of your rivals. Actually, he is my rival in the rivalry sense as well. So, really great to have one up on him at the midway point of this race, given that we started from last place. It looks like the fresh engine is certainly working wonders. So too the ERS upgrade, which is just allowing us to push so much. You can now see the ERS bank of energy that we've got at the moment. 40%, it is coming down, but for a lot of like the first stints, it was hovering around 70-80%, which it never does. Even just touching ERS overtake button a little bit would drain it quite a bit, so we're able to really push this engine for all it's worth. But anyway, it is pit stop time for the Mercedes and the Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel are in, and they are on to I didn't see. Is it medium? No, they're on the softs. They started on mediums and they're boxing for softs. They're on the same strategy as me. How could I forget? But George Russell opted for the hard compound tyres. Why, George? Why? The strategy department on the other side of the garage is woeful. They should have been fired about 5 times over by now. But anyway, that's really going to cost George Russell. All of us running the 2 softer compounds this weekend. He's missed a trick not by like not qualifying on the medium and finishing on the soft for the faster strategy. That is a wonderful stop from the boys there. 1.9 second stop. That was not in fast forward. That was in real time. It emerges us in P6 in this race. And we're going to come to the fastest lap if we can. And hopefully use Daniel Ricciardo as a means of giving us DRS and enabling us to go even faster on this lap. So I've kind of held back a little bit. I was running in lean revs at the end of the last lap to stay at arm's reach from Daniel Ricciardo, and now we're going to catch him at the perfect point. We're going to get DRS on the Camel Straight, and we are going to fly right past him in an effort to get the fastest lap. So let's see how that goes for us as we get ready to open it now. Overtake is flowing rich fuel mixture. Away we go. And we just take the racing line. Thank you very much. We're going to stay on board for this fastest lap. And or hopefully fast. It'll definitely be my fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Will it be the fastest lap overall? I guess that remains to be seen. We've got the likes of Vettel and Hamilton on the soft compound tyre as well. And they'll be pushing like mad in order to get fastest lap of their own. So it's not going to be a slam dunk fastest lap. But I'll do my best to get it if I can while minimizing those track limits. I think we only have... we still have 2 warnings left, I believe. But regardless, we don't want to be using those up anyway. Into the middle sector now. We're running 3.5 wings. I've set up the car in a way to be fast in the race. Wasn't probably the best qualifying car, but we certainly have the means to overtake people in a straight line. You guys have already seen that by the way that we cut through the lower midfield at the beginning of this race to put us in a good position. Russell is 7.5 seconds up the road on a hard compounded tyre. Hopefully we can make some massive inroads on him and maybe overtake him in this race. Sebastian Vettel, I'd imagine, will catch up to him as well. But the deeper we get into this race, the more of a factor Russell will become as we lose tyre life on our softs. Out of the final corner, punch it up to the line with overtake, and that is the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I think 5 tenths or so faster than what Vettel and Hamilton were running. Meanwhile, we've got Sergio Perez bowing out of this race, unfortunately. But there we go. That's our second warning of the race. Let's not get any more. Otherwise, we might be in trouble. There is George Russell actually holding station to Sebastian Vettel, crucially enough, as we go through the order. You can see Charles Leclerc, P2, with Lewis Hamilton leading the way once again. Yellow flag up ahead. This might be either my teammate or one of the Ferraris, that being Sebastian Vettel. It is Sebastian Vettel. He is now out of this race. That promotes us up into P4. Very unfortunate as he was catching up to George in these dying laps. But it is reliability troubles for Ferrari once again. Valtteri Bottas behind me, 3 seconds, actually 2.4 seconds behind me as we now get on to the last lap. This race has just flown by. I've essentially cut out all the boring bits just to give you guys everything that you need to see. Apart from that, it's just been me running around in clear air, just trying to manage things on this last lap. I'm actually looking after the gearbox because you never know when a spike in gearbox wear might strike. And so I'm just looking after it and managing the gap down to Bottas on this last lap. Looks like Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc apiece get the fastest lap. So that'll take an extra point away from me. We're going to come across the line here after we negotiate this final chicane and take P4. 12 points for the taking after starting in last place.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here at Spa-Francorchamps, but they've done so in spectacular style. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So Hamilton grabs victory in this Belgian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc P2. A bit of a topsy-turvy day for Ferrari, only one side of the garage making it to the end of the Grand Prix. Good day for us, 3-4 solid points. I think we do get the most out of, apart from Mercedes. Bloody Mercedes, consistent as always, 35 points for them. And how many? 27 for us. So we made gains on Ferrari, but that's it. So it's okay. I mean, it's not a... I'd take it. If you would have said this at the beginning of the day, I'd get P4, I would probably take it. What's kind of scary is how both Hamilton and Leclerc went faster on the last lap with tyre wear and in clean air. I had like 30 or 40% tyres, and I was nowhere near capable of bettering my own fastest lap, which was done with slipstream, with DRS, rich fuel mixture, overtake, and fresh tyres. That is scary. Maybe Mercedes has done some tyre wear upgrades now, and that is ominous. 56 points in the Constructors' Championship to Mercedes, who extend their gap once again. It's pretty close between us and Ferrari, only 2 points separating us from getting second in the Constructors' Championship, so that is definitely a viable position for us to aim for in this championship. But as ever, we need to continue to work on the durability, continue to push for development. I feel like this second half of the season, overall, those teams around us have really picked up momentum and are upgrading way faster than what they were at the beginning. So I was kind of wondering if this was going to be the season where we could easily win a Constructors or a Drivers' Championship. That is definitely not the case, and if we are going to be fighting for those kind of trophies, those accolades, we need to step up our game. We are not at the same level as what we were in the midway point of the season, getting 1-2s left, right, and center. We've had a few niggling issues which we need to work on, both on my side. George needs to sort out his race strategies. That's not exactly his fault, but his engineers, his team really need to sort that out. I don't know where they stand in terms of their own power unit components, whether they'll need to take another penalty at some point. Fingers crossed that they don't. But we'll continue to work on durability, but also I need to have like one eye on performance upgrades as well to keep pace with those around us, because Mercedes are picking up the pace with their developments. Racing Points are developing pretty fast as well. Ferrari have been consistent over the last few races, so we can't drop the ball and we can't go too all in durability, otherwise we'll get mobbed and we'll be stuck in nowhere, no man's land essentially in the drivers. I think constructors wise, P3 is looking very safe at worst. Red Bull is absolutely nowhere, and that's at least a safety net for us, but we want to push for as good as we can in the drivers and constructors. If we can get P2, that's going to be absolutely massive for the budget heading into Season 3, so I very much look forward to that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I apologize about the lateness of today's upload, but I tried to get it out as quickly as I could. I was out today. It was way too hot to be making videos in the heat of the day, and so hopefully you guys can understand that. And who knows, tomorrow, Italian Grand Prix. If that's the video I put up, hopefully it'll be up a little bit earlier than today's one. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.